How's it and welcome to a review of the Pajero Sport. So I've taken a day, driven out to the Cederberg, and I've spent the last 5 or 6 hours driving through the Cederberg, specifically on dirt roads, to see how the Pajero actually handles dirt roads. Because that's the point, right? We want to see what this thing is like off-road. And without spoiling too much for you, it's actually ridiculously good. So the road in the Cederberg I drove today, I've driven with a bunch of other cars. Some of them off-road kinds, some of them buckies, etc. But none of them have handled the off-road quite like the Pajero does. The Pajero has just been incredibly good off-road. So now that we got that out of the way, let me tell you a little bit about the Pajero. Okay, so I'd dearly love to show you what's under the bonnet, but I actually can't figure out how to open the bonnet. And being stuck in the middle of the mountains means I can't exactly Google it either. So you're just gonna have to believe me that there's an engine in here, and this engine is a 2.4 liter turbo diesel. It performs really well, even just town driving, cruising around town, up hills, etc. There's tons of torque. There's about 400 Newton meters of torque. So the torque is excellent. There's 144 kilowatts. Power is good. But where it really comes into its own is on the dirt. The suspension is incredible. The 8-speed gearbox really keeps the gears in the perfect place, regardless of the surface. So through the Cederberg, you kind of hit dirt roads, you hit tar roads, you're going uphill, you're going downhill, and the gearbox just finds itself in the right gear every single time. So this is really fantastic. But that's what you'd come to expect from a Pajero, right? But more than just a good off-roader, the Pajero has a couple of really cool features. Let me show you. Okay, let's start around the back. So the boot, you can open it with a key. Obviously, click, boot opens. You can press the button here and the boot opens automatically. Or you can kind of wave your foot underneath and the boot opens. That's pretty cool. So once you get it open, you discover how big this boot really is. So there's obviously the shield at the back here, but it's because there's actually an entire... So the Pajero is a 7-seater. The 2 extra seats are right at the back. Not very big. I imagine small children only, not adults. But they're here. And once the seat's up, there's not a lot of boot. But for the most part, if the seat's down, like that, that's the base that you sit on, that's the upright. If the seat's down, the boot is massive. It really is. You obviously have the roller shield over here. On this side, you have 2 cup holders. So when the back seats are up, there are cup holders. You also have a 12-volt charging port, and you got some hooks here that say 4 kilograms max. So you can actually strap things in if you need to. Right, so the first row of seats actually really spacious. The very back row is really tiny, but the second row is there's a ton of space here. This is comfortable for an adult on a long journey. You've got bottle holders on the door, you've got electric windows. You've got a little air vent goodie going on over here, which is quite cool. So you kind of have air all the time. But most impressively is if you look in the center here, there is a 150 watt power outlet, which is actually it's a 2-prong plug. You plug in there, plus you have 2 USB ports, which is quite interesting. It means you can plug a fridge in, or a laptop, or anything that can draw up to 150 watts. It's a 220 volt, 150 watt outlet, which is actually quite a lot. But the real goodness actually happens on the inside, on the front here. First off, we have keyless entry. So there's little buttons on the door. You press them, locks and unlocks. It's not a sensor. Or of course, you can lock and unlock the car with the actual key. In the center console, you've got 2 cup holders. There's this storage compartment here that has a little storage tray. It's not cooled or anything, but it's reasonably sized. That tray is cool because that does mean your phone fits there quite comfortably. You have your mode selector over here. You got 2 high, 4 HLC, and 4 LLC. You have your descent control. It's got an automatic park brake. Automatic park brake does not disengage when you're in gear and start driving. Some cars do that. If you kind of go to drive and begin moving, it disengages the park brake for you. Not so much in the Pajero, you have to actually disengage it. It's also got the auto hold. Gearbox is pretty straightforward. The lever's nice button you press to go to reverse, neutral and drive. Those are really the only options you have. You can kick it into a manual mode where you can go up and down, but there's no sport mode or anything like that. What you do have is the diff lock over here, and in the center console you have an HDMI port, which is quite cool. and 2 USB ports. The HDMI port obviously allows you to plug in devices like laptops and iPads, etc. You have dual climate control in the front, so the climate is on the right, fan speed on the left. It's got an auto mode, works pretty well. All the standard features are right there. Then you have this infotainment screen. So it comes, the USB ports do support Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is cool. Every time you start the vehicle, you have this kind of screen that says, please be sure to read this, observe and obey all road traffic signs, blah, blah, blah. Read the owner's manual and you are responsible for your safety at all times. And then you click OK, and this lets you into the system. You can pair it with Bluetooth, and then you can make phone calls, you can listen to music, etc. Or if you plug a cable in, depending on your phone, Android Auto or CarPlay. Pretty standard stuff. What it doesn't have in the front here is a volume knob, so you can't change the volume. It's got buttons over there, which I'm not a fan of. When you turn the screen off, it doesn't go black. It actually just shows you like this screen, and it says audio off, which is like if I want to turn it off, I'd like to turn it off. But anyways, it's there. Air vents in the front, airbags in the front, cubby holes. The seats are actually pretty comfy. As I said, I've been at this for about 5 or 6 hours now. Seats are very comfy, actually, if I can point it out. Sunroof over here, it's got a manually opening and closing slider, and then it's obviously got a button over here that electronically opens the sunroof. Over to the dash. So you have an entire digital dash in the front here. You can kind of click through various options on the digital dash. You can change the layout, so you go from like rev counter to a speedometer. You also have volume controls here, so if those buttons annoy you, you can control them on the steering wheel. You've got media controls, you've got telephone controls, you've got cruise control controls. You also have flappy paddles, which I suppose is useful off-road. I've never needed flappy paddles off-road, and there's not enough performance happening here to justify these from like a performance standpoint. The stalks on the side are pretty standard stuff. Left is all your wiper settings, right is your indicators and your lights. There's auto lights, auto wipers. It's great. Just to touch on other things inside the car, there's quite a lot of leather going on here. So the center console has this kind of leather wraparound on the sides here, which is very nice, and especially your leg kind of rests against that, and that's kind of cushioned leather, which is really nice. You obviously have the grab handles. It's got full automatic windows all the way around, all controllable from here. And then obviously every door has its own automatic window setting. You've got automatic mirror adjustments, and you have a start stop button that kind of coincides with the whole keyless entry thing. So your key can be in your pocket, you can unlock the doors, you can get in, you can start the vehicle, good to go. So the Pajero Sport is a really good car. I've enjoyed driving it. The seats are comfortable. It's got enough tech in it. It's well priced. It sits just below 700,000 Rand. Like all round, it's incredibly capable off-road. It's got space. It's a fantastic car for anybody considering anything of this size. It even comes with these like really cool 18-inch alloys. This one's got kind of semi off-road tires. It looks the business. It works on-road. It works off-road. The wheels look great. It's got this running board here, which you kind of need with a car that's got this kind of height. I mean, you can get into it, but like my butt is at the height of the seat, so sometimes it is actually just useful to pop up and hop in. So the running board is kind of useful. Can we talk about this though? I know they need to like build out the space for the extra 2 seats in the back. It's just this looks like really nice. Like they did this great job. It's styled, like the curves are in the right place. That wheel arch looks good. The wheel sits well. The doors are great. Everything's going really well. Till you get to the back here, that wheel arch like could have actually it's almost like they stopped trying. They got over here, they were like, the front's great, they put the tech in, and the people in the back are comfortable, and at the back here, it was Friday afternoon. We really needed to get the car done, and so we just sketched some stuff in there and went to the pub. It's the only letdown for me on the Pajero. I love the styling from the front. Everything in this car is well done. It's well built. Somebody said to me it looks like an Avanza, and they're not wrong. not all is lost with the sliding. Like when you look at it from this angle, it looks better. This kind of line running here that's indented looks really nice. The way the light wraps around and kind of comes to a V over there is pretty cool. This light shape is really cool. The badge sits nicely. The lines on the boot is cool. The chrome here is okay. This sort of overhang at the top here works. So like from this angle, it doesn't look too bad. It's just that like complete side profile that the back section here just falls apart for me. But that's it. That is like the only complaint I would have with the Pajero. I think the rest of it is just like an absolutely fantastic car. But let's hit the road and I'll tell you a bit more about how it drives. Okay, so how does the Pajero actually drive off-road? So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, it's a ton of fun. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, like the road I drove today is a road that I've driven many times in many other cars. It's quite corrugated in some sections, and for the most part, every car I've ever taken over there has been quite choppy in the way that it's kind of handled the off-road. Not so in the Pajero. This car literally has just soaked up the dirt like it's nobody's business. Like, you're aware of the fact that you're on the dirt and there's vibration and stuff. It's not like you're floating or anything. But like it is so comfortable and so smooth, and you're so aware of the fact that the suspension is doing an incredible amount of work for you. Once or twice I'm like sort of cruising along and I'm enjoying the scenery because it is gobsmackingly beautiful out here. And as I'm enjoying the scenery, I kind of realize that the car is squirming quite a bit. It's like this is quite a corrugated road. Like road noise as well. There's like not like a ton of cabin noise. Like if you drove the Jimny over here, you would literally be shaking your brains loose. And this is just, I'm doing 80 on a dirt road that's corrugated. It's just so comfortable. So once or twice I'd be cruising along enjoying the scenery and I kind of feel the car squirm a little bit, and I think to myself, that's unusual. Why would the car be, it's because I'm doing 100 on a dirt road. A, you're not aware of how fast you're going because cars are so comfortable on the dirt road. And B, it's just doing such an incredible job. I've had it in 4-inch high of just giving you grip, and like it's actually a problem because it's deceptive in terms of like how good the car is. You'll probably end up going a lot faster on dirt in this than you would in like anything else, which means if you do get yourself into trouble, you're going to be in bigger trouble quicker. And it goes from dirt to tar quite seamlessly. And now it just cruises. The fuel economy is pretty solid. Cruise control set at 120. Fuel economy is hovering at about 8, 9, depending on whether you're going uphill slightly or downhill slightly. I've had no drama. The aircon's been great. The seat's been comfortable. The steering wheel's great. Steering position's good. Visibility out of every single window is comfortable. The Android Auto has kept my tunes going the whole day long. The sound in here is not Bose or Harman Kardon level, but it's really good. It's like whatever sound system they're cooking in here is doing a fantastic job. Like this car for 700,000 Rand, I reckon it's an absolute bargain. It's an incredibly spacious everyday car. It drives around town no problem. It's a little bit sizable, so like parking every now and again is a bit of a pain in the ass. The turning circle is like a damn orbit. But like the minute you head out of town and you find a dirt road, it's an incredibly comfortable car to enjoy. Thanks for watching my review of the Mitsubishi Pajero Sport. I appreciate that you're still here. Please click that subscribe button below. It really helps the channel.